Evening everybody, I'm out on the road again, still walking, still trying to talk about Tottenham. It's all very slow, isn't it, eh? Very, very slow, which is hardly surprising. But as I said in the video the other day, once they spoil you by signing a couple of players, makes you think, yeah, here we go. It's going to be different this year. We're really going to go for it. But it's all gone quiet. All gone very quiet. And I'm not a big fan of transfer window times anyway. It's not really my thing. But with the lack of football going on, with no World Cup, it doesn't give you an awful lot to think about in the closed season, does it? Nothing really big football wise going on that we can kind of get our teeth into or talk about or whatever. So what we've ended up doing is arguing amongst ourselves about whether Richarlison is any good or not, whether we want him or not, whether we want Rafinha, who's winning the transfer saga, who's winning the window at the moment. Are Arsenal winning it? Are Tottenham winning it? I didn't even know that was a thing, to be honest with you, about winning the bloody transfer period. I personally couldn't give a monkey's who anybody else buys. That's of no concern to me, really. It's not really my expertise. I just know that if I was an Arsenal fan and we were looking to sign a striker, considering we haven't really got a striker, I'd be quite happy with the idea of taking on Jesus. I think he's a decent player and probably what they need. So I don't think he was ever the sort of player that we would be looking at, because it just doesn't seem to suit. But for Arsenal, someone who's going to want to play football week in, week out, which he will do at Arsenal, at Tottenham it'd be a different scenario. I don't think he would play every week. You know, he would have to alternate around Kane and Son and so on. Whereas when you've got a player like Richarlison who can play up front or can play as part of the front three, so it does give you a different option. So it kind of makes a bit more sense than Jesus. But you know, Tottenham and Arsenal fans are arguing about whether we do want him or we don't want him, or whether they've stolen him off of us or whatever. And then you've got Tottenham fans laughing at Arsenal fans because Chelsea are now apparently buying Rafinha, who was one of their targets. I don't know. It just seems a bit petty to me to be worrying about who's going and where. We need to concentrate on our own players and what we need. And we still haven't secured a right back, a right wing back, which is something I think we desperately need for the new season. In fact, I think it's my top ask now. You know, now that we've got an additional midfielder in and we've got a left back in, I'm not as concerned about left centre back. I still think we need one to play with Davies, because I think there's going to be a lot of football to play, and you need some real quality in there. But I'm not as concerned about that position as I am about the right wing back. So, and if we got, you know, that one more signing in that position, after that I'd kind of be okay, and I'd be like, you know, yeah, I'd love us to have a left-sided centre back. I'd like us to have a creative midfielder as well. But if we're not going to get them in this window, I'm not overly concerned about it, because there will be other windows, hopefully, and this could just be the start of the rebuild. And if that's what it is, that's what it is. You can't do it overnight. You can't do it in one go. So I think there's no point us all getting super overexcited. There are other teams in need of a bigger rebuild than we are. And sometimes when you put too many new players into a squad in one go, it's not always going to work. You know, Chelsea found that when they started just buying all the best players. They had that problem, and so did City. It took them a little while to actually get the balance right. So, you know, anyway, I think the other thing that's making a lot of noise at the moment is the announcement of the Arsenal All or Nothing Amazon documentary. I think so for those fans watching the Arsenal All or Nothing documentary, I think the thing you probably need to put in your mind is it's not AFTV. It's not going to be AFTV. It's going to be a proper, polished and thought through production, and they are going to want to show the good bits. I'm sure Arsenal will have had a big say in what gets shown and what doesn't, and so it's not going to be car crash TV that you're hoping for. Absolutely not. So I think, I'm going to watch it, absolutely, because I love that kind of thing. I think it's a real interesting hindsight into what's going on at a professional football club and how it works, and what kind of coaching methods they do and all that kind of stuff, you know. Because if you're not in that world, all we do is surmise, don't we? He must say this or he must say that. I mean, how do players react to bad results? You know, what's the training methods like? All that kind of stuff, you know. So to be able to watch it live as it happened is going to be interesting. But like I say, I don't think it's going to be car crash TV. And I think the thing you've got to also remember is it was very close at the end of the season. Very close. You know, they were on a fantastic run up until we played them and demolished them and broke their spirit. That will be the key point, and I'm sure, yeah, we're going to want to see that. We're going to want to see their reactions to that and all the rest of it. But that's going to be polished, and it's going to be for the Arsenal fans, isn't it? They ain't going to want to show them furious and fuming and in tears and upset and annoyed and angry. And they ain't going to want to show any of that. They're just going to go, oh, we've lost, come on boys, get your heads up, it's all still in our hands, blah, blah, blah. Let's see how they reacted to the Newcastle one and the end of season. So, but I think it will be interesting. It will be interesting to see where they could go from there and how it kind of pans out. For those of you who don't know, when they did the Tottenham Hotspur All or Nothing, yours truly, actually had a starring role in that documentary. You actually get to see my ugly mug. You actually get to see my ugly mug when they're doing the North London Derby bit. So if you haven't seen it, check it out, because yeah, it's one of my claims to fame, you know. So worth a punt, worth an have a look. But yeah, so overall, bit of a slow thing going on at the moment. Not too much to talk about, not too much to get excited about. Richarlison seems to be the major thing at the moment. Fortunately, we don't have to talk about Gareth Bale anymore, because he's decided to go into retirement in America, playing, you know, third division level football. Don't blame him. You know, if you get the opportunity to live in LA and play in the sun and earn mega money, you get yourself fit, essentially just to be able to playing the World Cup, then fair play, you know. But I'm glad that's done and dusted and out of the way, and we ain't got to go on about that no more. It'll just be interesting how quickly the other rose-coloured spectacle signing of Eriksen goes, because I honestly don't believe he's going to come back to us. And if he does, I still don't believe that it's going to be the magical reunion that we like to think it's going to be. But that's just me being Mr. Negative. And I know Eriksen has lots of people really, really keen on him coming back. But we'll see what happens with that. So, I'm going to leave it there. Just to say thank you for everybody who's been watching these videos and talking to me, asking questions and stuff, because it's nice to have that interaction, to keep in touch with people. So thank you for that, I really do appreciate it. My subscriber count's actually gone up as well. I'm now 4 off of 1,200, which, you know, for a fat old bloke who wanders around talking bollocks, it's pretty good. Anyway, have a good rest of your day. I'll speak to you again if anything happens. If not, I'll speak to you in a few days. Up the Spurs.